Welcome back to Intrendias. If this is your first time watching the show, thank you for clicking on the channel. Here we're looking at space stock Virgin Galactic. Richard Branson's space tourism company recently made a successful test flight, all crew, at the end of May 2023. And we're interested in seeking out whether or not is this a good opportunity to buy some space. SPCE. We could go to the Intrendias website. Here, all the tools on this page is free. The Search Assets tab will direct you to our MIA terminal, which allows you to search by your favorite stock, crypto, forex, index, whichever. Type in the ticker, boom, you'll get buy and sell signals. Crypto screener, US indexes screener, S&P 500, Nasdaq, Russell 1000. All these screeners provide buy, sell, and hold tables for every stock in those indices. And then for the blogs page, we'll have future content there, articles, etc., coming soon. Now let's get back to space. Here, once I go to the Search Assets tab, I could type in space. I'll hit submit, and this is going to run through a Python algorithm in the back end. Here we're seeing the stock price at $5.32. We see it decline 6% in the previous exchange day and after hours. We see this output for space. This is the standard deviation positive line for the EMA 20. This is the negative. And we see a bunch of EMA lines that I could toggle through. So I'm going to remove these just so that we could actually see the candles. You actually also get stop loss line. And let's remove all this. So our MIA terminal was very good at deciphering, hey, back in 2021 when interest rates were low, investors were speculating really high, and Virgin Galactic opened up the gates and came out as an IPO on the scene. The terminal was able to dictate that 2021 February was a great time to sell, and yes, it was. We have good buy signals here in April 2021 that seem to be quite accurate as the price shot up again up towards 60 in June 2021. However, the market scene has not been so friendly to Virgin Galactic after the fact. We've had some false readings here for buy signals that we have never seen another sell signal ever since. Some popular metrics are found towards the bottom. We have the MACD and signal line. Here it's very flatlined, not a lot of activity going on there. We're seeing very recent spikes in volume after the company had a successful test flight. It's been 2 years ever since they had a successful test flight back in 2021. The RSI is indicating overbought back in June 2023, and the William %R line is also above the overbought line. But those are very rudimentary ways of reading the MACD line and RSI, so not the most thorough investigation that we could do, so we could do much better than that. So let's discuss what is happening with the total economy as a whole, and let's look at the federal funds rate. Obviously, with increases in the Fed funds rate, that's not going to bode well for something like space, since space needs a lot of money for R&D. The cheaper the money it is to borrow, the cheaper it is to do R&D, the cheaper it is to invest in their fleet. et cetera, et cetera. So once the Fed was very much pushing for decreasing the inflation rate target back to 2%, and rates were picking up since April 2022, we could see in the space chart that it very much reflected negatively for space as it's down near 70% from April 2022 all the way to the very low of December 28, 2022. And it's been pretty stagnant since. And this Fed hiking is quite not over. Most recent meeting reported here on CNBC, June 21st, 2023. We're saying Powell expects more Fed rate hikes ahead as inflation fight has a long way to go. Inflation's target is still at 2%, and we're nowhere near. There are signs that the labor market is tightening. However, with already rate hikes in place, it's going to take a while for the economy to truly absorb what has already been committed. We can see future rate hikes. However, future Fed meetings may pose no hikes. But in the future, I wouldn't be surprised to see another hike. But that doesn't mean it's going to happen the immediately following meeting. To truly understand how much has already been put in, and hopefully then that could help the Fed justify another one or not. But with headlines and news articles like this and meetings like this, I wouldn't be surprised that future rate hikes would not bode well for space. I think that's quite obvious there. Here we're seeing some candle patterns with the help of CDL TRD tool on TradingView by Just Uncle L. We're seeing some bullish engulfments down here, and that would have been a fantastic time to buy. We're not seeing any bearish signals yet. However, if we remove the candle reader, we are seeing some ceiling line here where we're seeing the line up here acting like a ceiling for price of 7, then back down to 6, then back down to 5. We're seeing lower highs, but we're seeing the 320 line as a good support level as we hit it on December 27th, April 11th, April 26th, and May 31st. So with all this being said, it's not just Fed rate hikes that we have to worry about. It's also the company itself diluting shares and then attempting to raise even more funds to better their fleet, to better their R&D, etc. So here, this is most recent today, June 22nd, as I speak, today. Virgin Galactic stock drops more than 13% after the company seeks to raise another $400 million. Obviously, this is not great for investors if you're already in it, since your shares are being diluted. And the percentage of shorts of the shares outstanding is at 19%. Shorts percent of float, it's at 22%. So this stock is this stock is very much shorted, and that also doesn't bode well. So, in the grand scheme of things, we're seeing potential Fed rate hikes based on the outcomes that we see in the economy. We're seeing the company itself dilute shares for the sake of bettering their fleet, up to 400 million more in raising money. And the market now is very, very greedy, as we have mentioned in prior videos. The CNN Fear and Greed Index is at extreme greed. So, with all this in mind, future Fed rate hikes is not in our favor. Increased capital up to 400 million is not in the investor's favor. And the market is acting quite greedily. And if the market's greedy, you might want to take some chips off the table. When the market's fearful, that's when you want to go and talk to the dealer. So, in a recession scared environment like we are now, in an environment where we're also experiencing the FOMO of missing out on the AI boom, and now we're missing out on Space's successful test flight. And oh, now I need to get in on that too, right? Feels like there's a lot of chasing going on. And perhaps it's more best to invest in companies where, hey, look at this. They have a great cash flow. They could collect 4 or 5% on that cash, and they wouldn't have to worry about a thing. That being said, me personally, just to share with you, disclosing that it's not financial advice, but just to share with you, perhaps this would not be the time to consider adding to space. There's too many unknown factors here. It's fantastic that they had a successful flight. That is fantastic. It was 2 years after all since they had one. So it's great relief for the investors, definitely well deserved. But with more capital funding or raising and future Fed rate hikes, it may just be a stock to pass on and continue down the aisle. You'll most likely find something much better. I would love to know what you think. Perhaps I missed something. Perhaps I'm too broad. Perhaps I'm too granular. Who knows? I would love to hear what you think about space in the comments section below. And I would hope that you check out and see the Intrendias webpage and let me know what you think. It's still in development, so unfortunately you may experience long load times since the website is still in development. It's still in beta. So thank you for understanding, your support, and your patience. And I would love to hear your feedback on the site. That being said, thank you again for watching. I will see you in the next episode.